For so many successful leaders, there's this painful paradox. The very things that made you successful, your personal touch, your direct involvement, have now become the bottleneck holding your entire business back. So today, we're going to break down how to move from a relationship model that relies on your memory to one that runs like an institution. Okay, let's just start with a quick, honest assessment. Really think about it. You land a huge deal, you're completely buried for 3 months, totally focused. What happens to the rest of your pipeline? If the answer is just absolute silence, then your system is way more fragile than you think. And that's exactly what we're here to fix.
All right, here's our game plan for getting you out of that trap. First, we're going to define what it is. We call it the golden cage. Then we'll calculate the true cost with the fragility tax. From there, we build the escape route, the institutional nurture system, complete with a 12-month touch plan. And finally, we'll put it all to the test with the captain's test to make sure your firm is truly built to last.
So let's dive into this idea of the golden cage. It's kind of like this comfortable prison you've built for yourself, where the bars are literally made of your own success. We're going to take a hard look at how this paradox is capping your potential for any real scale. Now, here's what's so wild about this. It's a classic 80-20 rule, right? A pretty small group of your best clients and top prospects, they're the lifeblood of your future business. But, and this is a huge but, if every single interaction with them depends on you personally remembering to make that call or send that email, you've built yourself a beautiful cage. Sure, you're making great money, but you can never leave, you can never get sick, and you can absolutely never scale beyond the hours you can personally put in. It's a trap.
And this dependence, it leads us right to our next point, the real tangible cost of that golden cage. We call it the fragility tax. And believe me, it's a hidden expense that's quietly draining your firm's value and, frankly, your personal energy.
The core of the problem is this. You've become a single point of failure. In engineering, that's the one part that, if it breaks, brings the entire system crashing down. When all your high-value client communication runs through you, your firm doesn't really have a system. It has a hero. And you know what? Heroes just don't scale. And this fragility tax, it's not something you're going to see on your P&L sheet. It's the burnout you feel trying to keep all those plates spinning. It's the lower valuation your firm gets because it literally can't run without you. And most importantly, it's the radio silence your best prospects hear the second you get busy, which directly crushes your firm's value. Okay, enough about the problem. Let's start building the solution. We need to make a massive shift from your manual labor to systemic execution. This is where we build a durable, automated engine for your client relationships. A true platform. I mean, just look at this comparison. On the left, that's the chaotic hustle. It's reactive, unpredictable, and totally dependent on you and your mood. On the right, that's an institutional platform, proactive, consistent, and triggered by data in your CRM, not by how you're feeling that day. This isn't about working harder. It's about shifting from being the engine to being the architect of the engine. So how do we actually build this thing? Well, it starts with a concrete, actionable playbook. This isn't some abstract theory. This is your 12-month plan for systematically staying top of mind with your most valuable contacts automatically. It really boils down to 3 clear steps. First, you've got to know who you're talking to. Who are the 100 people who will generate 80% of your future business? Second, you map out a sequence of value-first touchpoints for an entire year. And third, and this is the absolute key, you engineer it so that you are not the one executing most of it. So here's a super simple, tangible example of what this could look like. Notice that each quarter, you're delivering real value, a market outlook, a conf report, a legislative update. But the most important part, look at that responsible column. The leader is only responsible for one of these strategic touchpoints. The rest, it's executed by the team. And this right here, this is the magic number. The goal is to design a system where you are personally involved in maybe 2 of the 12 annual touches. The other 10, they're system-driven. That is how you scale your presence and your impact without scaling your personal workload. It is pure leverage. And now it's the moment of truth. Time for the captain's test. Because predictable revenue requires predictable nurture. So let's get brutally honest about your systems. Question 1 is the absence test. Yeah, we started here and we're ending here. If you were totally off the grid, would your org chart and your systems execute flawlessly? Or does the entire client relationship engine just grind to a halt when you're not personally turning the key? Question 2, the autonomy check. Is your team truly empowered?
Do they have a clear service level agreement that gives them the confidence and the authority to deliver insights on your behalf? Or are you secretly hoarding all the communication because you think only the hero can send a meaningful email? Be honest.
And the final question, asset validation. Have you actually built a valuable, institutional asset, an automated engine that grows in value with or without you? Or have you just built yourself a really high-paying job that relies on your memory to fuel GCI while totally wasting the potential of your talented team? Let this one sink in for a second. A firm that forgets its best clients when it gets busy is not an institutional asset. It is a chaotic hustle operating on borrowed time, and all hustles eventually run out of time. So your mission is crystal clear. Build the sequence of value, automate the nurture so it happens without you, and protect the platform, because that is the only way to build a business that is truly bigger than you.